Hey guys, Bob McBride, Black Powder TV. Today we're going to do a video on this Kettenburg smooth rifle up here. This is a early Bucks County smooth rifle, 3-day gun, or SCHIMMEL, or Eric Kettenburg calls them utilitarian guns, but it's basically a very basic gun that can be built in just a few days by a gun maker of the mid to late 1700s, and he can have it there in his shop ready to go. So when he gets an order that matches the architecture of that pre-made, pre-assembled gun, that he can turn right around and create a finished product out of this basic gun. So that's the theory of a 3-day gun, which was a quick, simple utilitarian gun. And let's take a look at this real quick. So simple, no butt plate, no engraving, no thumb piece. The trigger guard is not inlet. It's just screwed right on the stock itself. No entry pipe, no actual center pipe, just one single ramrod pipe, no nose cap, no side plate. Very simple cheek piece and a rough scraped finish. Now this is the kind of gun that could have been finished quickly by the gun maker of say 1750, 60, 70, or his apprentice in just a few days, and it could have been in inventory basically. So sitting right on a rack in the shop, so when someone came in, wanted to place an order for a gun, he had some slightly different architecture that he could use to show them what it might look like, or a finished gun to show what it might look like. And then when he finishes that order, gets everything that the guy wants who's buying the gun, he can use one of those pre-assembled guns. Or, which is most interesting of all to me, is now you got to remember that guns and clothes were the status symbol of the period. So like we have the newest iPhone, cars, right, our houses, that's how we explain to the world our status. So they had their guns, they had other things, their carriage, their horse, and the tack and saddle and everything that they would have on their horse. But the main thing was the clothes you wore were an outward expression to the world of who you were, and the gun was a big part of that. So anybody with any kind of money, shopkeeper, lawyer, rich farmer, that sort of thing, they would have the very nicest possible rifle. And a lot of those rifles have survived to today because they spent their time on a rack. They went to town. When the guy went to town, laid across his lap, he carried it through town with him. It was a part of who he was. Now your regular kind of poor farmer, backwoodsman, you know, the poorest couldn't even afford a rifle. But once you got to the point that you could, it was a utilitarian tool. So all you cared about was, can I put game on the table to keep my family from starving? So that guy walking into a gun maker's shop might just as well walk in and say, I want the simplest thing you got. I know your quality. I know that you make guns that shoot straight and all of that stuff, and I want the simplest thing you got. Well, right there on the rack are those pre-made, ready to go, roughly finished guns. And that poor guy, that's probably all he can afford. He's saved and saved and saved, and he's come in with the bare minimum, and he's hoping what he's got in his poke is going to be enough to send him home with a gun. And more than likely, this is what he would leave with: a smooth rifle or a Fowler of some sort that he could load with shot and round ball, take those deer, take those grouse, you know, turkeys or whatever. So birds on the wing, you know, whatever he could get to feed his family, that's what he wanted. Now there's a lot of argument about whether and how many of this type gun was actually made and sold, delivered to the customer in this configuration. But I'm in the camp that says it was a lot. The nice fancy guns survived to us, and this is another bone of contention, but these utilitarian guns, they wouldn't have. This guy used it all the time. The rich guy, the rich farmer, he used them, sure, on the weekends, plinked with his buddies and all of that stuff, and he even hunted with it and did all of that. But he could afford to go to the butcher, where this guy couldn't afford to go to the butcher. He was his own butcher. He had to go get his own game, and this is the kind of gun he would have. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this gun today is this is a Bucks County, early Bucks County smooth rifle made by Eric Kettenburg in about 2000. Now, I recently talked to Eric about this gun, and he let me know that over the years he had considered buying this gun back from the guy I bought it from, and buy it back and then finish it and kind of finish the story of this gun. Because the theory is, and this probably happened a lot, or at least a significant percentage of these particular type guns had this done to it. So maybe 5–10%, maybe more, where this gun was bought as a base model, right? Base model gun, simple, get me a gun, get a gun slung over my shoulder so I can feed my family, to that farmer starting to do a little better. Maybe he's done a long hunt or two and gone out for a year and made a little extra cash to expand his holdings and make a little more money farming, and he's progressed through his life. And instead of doing anything else with this gun, perhaps in the off season, right, in the winter or a period where he knows he may not need this gun for a while, maybe he's got a second one that's an old clunker grandpa had, he takes this gun and he takes it back to the gun maker and says, put some stuff on here. I want a butt plate, you know, finish the pipes, put me a nose cap. I'm going to town with this gun. I got a little better clothes on than when I first bought this gun, so I need the gun to kind of match how I'm progressing in the world. So I need a butt plate, I need a side plate, I need a nose cap, I need to finish up the pipes, put my entry pipe on here, dress this thing up a little bit because I have a little extra coin in my pocket and I don't want to be carrying this rough old cooter to town every time I go. So refinish it, do a little something to it. Now that could have happened in a certain percentage of guns like this. Another thing that could have happened is that this gun would have been finished up over time. So maybe he had a buddy who was an apprentice at a gun shop and he could take it to him on a weekend and have him inlet a butt plate. Then over time, maybe he puts in his own side plate. Maybe he gives it to his son and his son grows up and his son has a gun maker put a little more decorations on it. So you could get a gun come to us over time, to the modern day, that had stuff done to it over time. So I haven't decided, and I'm gonna let Eric Kettenburg make those decisions, but whether he's gonna do it as a gun that was done over time or a gun that just went back to the gun maker and was finished up. So it would have been more like a middle class man's gun instead of a lower class farmer's, you know, barely holding on's gun. So I'm gonna send this gun back to Eric. He's going to finish this gun out as if that scenario had happened, where this gun is sent back to the maker, which is actually what I'm doing, sending it back to the original maker and having him finish this gun out. Because he originally built this as a project, as a three-day gun project, in conversations he was having with other gun makers about 3-day guns and how those gun makers may have built and had their inventory pre-ready to go or whatever. So I'm gonna let him take this gun and finish it out. I'm gonna mail it out to him tomorrow, and when he gets it back to me, I'm gonna do another video showing you what he's done and what that may mean to the gun and what it may mean to the owner of that gun back when. And so this will be the last time you see this beautiful early Bucks County SCHIMMEL in this present configuration, and we're going to send it to Eric Kettenburg and have him do his magic on it. And when you come back, you'll see the work that Eric did on it. So we'll see you in